Hey everybody, this is Derek Brown with another BEATBoX SAX tutorial volume 2 from my 50/50 tour around the US. And today I'm going to talk about a really fun technique that I kind of discovered while messing around with my P.Mauriat System 76 2nd edition horn here, which, like a lot of horns, has, especially modern horns, has this altissimo F-sharp key. Now, a couple of things. A lot of players don't like these. They don't like having this extra key up there. I've never noticed a difference of having it on or off. And of course, most people use it so they can finger a high F sharp, and then you press that key, and you finger high F, and then you press that key, and it goes to an F sharp. Or if you do the front. Now, I don't use that like a lot of players, or at least like a lot of, I know, jazz players. I don't use that fingering for F sharp. I have another fingering that I use. However, not just for trills and things, I found a really cool use for this. And if you've seen my video on the overtone gliss, I did this in my first BEATBoX SAX tutorials. And this is the sound that you hear a lot of the these kind of modern bari sax players, like Leo P of Too Many Zoos, do, where they're kind of playing a low A or a low B flat, and then kind of this didgeridoo sound. And you can check out my video on that later. It's way easier to do that on a bari sax than the other horns. And I don't know what it has to do with the mechanics of the horn, but it's way easier to do that on the bari sax. And of course, you're fingering a low note, and then you're kind of, it's like you're slurring through your overtones. Now, on a tenor, it's much harder to do that, and I was struggling. You know, I can get it sometimes. However, I realized with this with kind of a random fingering that I came up with, where I play a C, and a high C usually with the octave key, a C with this alternate F sharp key or altissimo F sharp key, and you can get these huge altissimo, I call them altissimo squeaks. You can just really bend the heck out of that note, and I'm also fingering another note first, and then I go to that C position. Now, a couple things. A lot of times this F sharp key is not easy to get to, and if you look really close, I've actually bent mine quite a bit on this P.Mauriat System 76. It's nice and wide like that. Now normally it would require you to kind of pull up your middle finger or your ring finger and press down, straight down like that. However, that means you can't really come from a D or a low C and do that, and I want to be able to do that from anywhere. So I actually just bent the side up so it really sticks up like that, and then I can actually just use kind of that second knuckle of my middle finger to just press down, so I could come from an E or a D and then just lean it back like that. Now, of course, you want to make sure you don't break it. I also even bent it just to kind of find that right spot to where it does that. And on mine, I don't know if you can see this, but I even put a little cork on the end, kind of super glued a cork there, so that this side can actually hit the bottom. Because it's not on the bottom, right there, just to stop it from going up instead of right there. So check that out. And once again, if I'm just fingering a C and doing that with the octave key, now my tongue is pretty high up in the air as if I'm playing a really high altissimo note, and that's important. And then I'm using the tongue like as if my tongue is the thumb on a hose, squeezing, adding more pressure, and backing down. And that gets you to be able to just go crazy with that pitch. Now, once again, this technique isn't going to work for you unless you're really comfortable with your overtones. So your teachers that tell you overtones, overtones, it's not just good for tuning. It's not just good for altissimo. It's good for doing these overtone squeals, squeaks, or things like the record scratches, which I talk about in another video on this current tutorial series. And once again, I like to go from a note and then squeak into it, and then so I slur into that, and then add the pressure, and it's like I'm squeezing out the hose. So you can also go up and down. So that's what I call the overtone squeaks or overtone squeals. So have fun with that. I've noticed you can do it very easily on a Barry as well, even though with Barrys you can just do the overtone glisses pretty easily. You can do it on an alto. It's a little bit different, but I have found that it's still, that same fingering does work on my alto. So have fun experimenting with that, and I'll see you somewhere down the road with another one of these tutorials. Thanks for watching.
Bye.